Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Marketing and Leadership Series with Kevin and Craig, where we add value to people's lives, happening every Thursday on ebizradio.com. You can catch the Lunchtime Series on all major podcast channels, and joining me as per usual, marketing and communications expert and co-host Craig Page-Lee. Craig, how you doing?
Hello, Kevin. I'm doing well, thanks. It's just, these weeks are flying by. You and I were just chatting offline a short while ago. It's one more weekend. It's the end of February. Unreal.
Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. I need a holiday. We were those days where we felt like we could be back at school, Greg. Like just go to school and do just that.
Yeah, mind you, if you look at what the youngsters have to do at school these days, wow, you take a really different approach to do that. The huge respect for what the young kids are having to deal with at school these days. Huge respect.
Craig, so on today's show, our 50th show, I can't even believe that it's like we've got this far. It's definitely a cause for celebration, and we have a really special guest joining us. So it's today's a biggie.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, Kevin. Hard to believe that we actually started this journey during COVID when I was initially invited as a guest onto your show, and ended up becoming co-host with you in a very short period of time. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity and the fact that we've managed 50 shows to date. Yeah, so unfortunately not 50 consecutive because we had the pause during the festive season, but up until then, it was about 47 consecutive weeks, which is really, really great. And season 2 is rolling on nicely. So here we go.
Yeah, and just to say, season 2, it's like I'm so excited. I've even brought some red wine. So cheers to you, Craig. Thank you for being brilliant.
Back to you. And there's a particular reason that we're celebrating with wine, and we'll share a bit more on that shortly.
But before we do, we're going to jump into today's discussion. We want to just recap on last week. So give us a bit of a reminder of what we spoke about, because last week was a fantastic conversation as well.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Just sort of 5 or 6 key points from last week. And the points that I'm going to touch on were described by Dimitrios Spiridondas in the article, How Has COVID-19 Changed Leadership? It was published to the wbs.ac.uk blog site on 21 October 2021, so very current in its thinking and points of view, and a perfect reminder as to the points that go like this. Number 1 is strategic leadership is needed more than ever to deal with the complexity and uncertainty organizations face in the wake of COVID. On the back of these learnings, though, leaders must be prepared to evolve and change themselves, maintaining a level of agility even now that we are back in this so-called normal times. And it's an odd place because I actually don't know what this new normal really consists of.
Yeah.
Leaders need their organizations to be able to respond quickly and fluently. They need to embrace adaptive leadership, but they also need to be aware of their own needs. And this is a really, really important point because leaders have felt the front end of all of that uncertainty and pain, and they really need to be in a position to start understanding what their needs are as well. And one of the positive unintended consequences of COVID, Kevin, is that it created space for leaders to actually stop and do some critical thinking about themselves and what it is they assume about the future, and that they might actually be able to check out and pursue what it is that they believe. So that opportunity of self-reflection, allowing them to pursue what they believe. And those are the simple points from last week, short and sweet, but actually quite impactful in its simplicity.
Yeah, guys, if you want to check that out, that's on the Lunchtime Series on YouTube and on all major podcast channels. So go and check it out. It's a really great conversation around leadership. But Craig, thank you for that. I'm really excited about our discussion today, and let's dive right into it and share us some of the insights and topic of introducing our special guest today.
Fantastic, Kevin. Thanks. So we're really privileged to have Koni Maliehe, founder and managing owner of Koni Wines, joining us today. Did I pronounce the surname correctly?
No.
That's why
Tell us how. Tell us how.
So that L stands for D in Sesotho. So it's Maliehe.
Maliehe. Oh, yeah. There we go. Thank you.
Just so
So as I mentioned last week, Koni is one of the 12 recipients that were selected from the tough process to benefit from Hollard Insurance's Big Ads for Small Business campaign, which we've covered about 5 or 6 times with other guests in the previous shows. And I know from my previous chat with Koni during the last week, that we're definitely going to be in for some lively conversation and get to learn some really great lessons on how Koni got into the business of wine and how Koni actually navigated her way through the challenges of COVID, because it obliterated the industry, and it really imposed a lot on an industry that was subjected to alcohol bans in South Africa, and something that never really happened in other countries of the world. So some unique experiences that actually South Africa had to face and navigate their way through on their own. But to have a little dig, Kevin, like with the ban on cigarettes, we know that the illegal parallel market flourished with the help of some key unscrupulous politicians and leading business people in South Africa. That said, welcome to the show, Koni. Great to have you join us. And thanks for being prepared to come and share some of those experiences and lessons you've learned with us today. And to allow us into the journey that took you from the corporate world into entrepreneurship.
Oh, thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Koni, and thank you for being here. It's so great to be able to celebrate this with you, and especially having a glass of wine with you. And thanks for celebrating our 50th show.
Yeah, I'm honored.
Absolute pleasure. Yeah. So Koni, before we continue, I just want to formally introduce you to our listeners. Just a little bit of background so they know who we're talking to. So for the listeners, Koni was born in Soweto, Rockville, but then spent a good duration of her youth being partly raised by her grandparents in the Eastern Cape, the beautiful Eastern Cape, before settling in Cape Town, which obviously is where the magic of wine happens. Koni is the managing owner and founder of Koni Wines, a brand that was founded in 2015 when Koni left the corporate world after spending, take note of this, almost 15 years working in HR and learning and development at Sanlam and the likes of Metropolitan Insurance in South Africa.
Wow.
Koni has also completed a number of certificates relating to the wine industry through the Cape Wine Academy and the University of Cape Town. And Koni has completed her IMM certificate in marketing management, which I'm sure stood you in good stead when you stepped out of the corporate world into this world of entrepreneurship. Koni, we're looking forward to hearing how all of this came together and how you got into becoming a wine producer.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Craig.
But to the point, Koni, so what is it that led to decide that you had enough of this corporate world and that you'd prefer to work in the wine producer and the owner of becoming a wine? I mean, as I'm listening to it, I'm kind of going, that doesn't sound like a really bad idea. Like I can understand why you would want to do it. Tell us more. Tell us, what is it that led you to do this?
Some years ago, after starting the business, I met a former colleague who was one of the executives, and he thought I resigned to actually start an HR consulting, business. So I said, no, I resigned. I'm in the wine industry. And he was like, whoa, that is a surprise. I said, yes, you drove me so crazy that I ended up in the wine. Yeah.
Given to drink.
So I think, on a serious note, change. I always love change. I always love challenges. And I felt over the years, I had a good position, very nice title. I had an excellent team. We did great things. But I just found that, it's the same thing in a different way every year. And whether I'm going to hit a certain level of my career, those things will still be the same, but in a different level, in a different way. So I need change. I need something to challenge myself. I need just to create my own path and create my own thing. And that was the main driver. And I had a couple of things that I wanted to do that I really liked, because I wanted to leave an environment, to start an environment where I don't feel like I'm working, although I'm working. So I'm not like in this confined office and having to deal with processes. I need to be out there, interact with people, network, form relationships, which is something that is also that defines me, that I'm good at. And I made a list of few things that I wanted to start. And one of the things, it was having a guest house, fashion boutique. I always loved fashion, and then shoes and so forth. But out of the blue, wine came because I actually was starting to enjoy wine. I started drinking at a very late age. Um, I was from a home where alcohol was really, it created negativity. My dad was a heavy drinker, and people around us were not really having a positive image, or, about, the drinking issue. So when I moved to Cape Town, obviously I was exposed to the wine lands. And when I started, being in certain positions and, interacting at a certain level, I started enjoying wine. And one of the things I was like, I've actually never seen a black brand out there, or a black wine business. Um, I just started being curious, why? And not knowing that they were already there. There were a few brands that were already in existence, but I never knew about them. So, and I said, maybe I should just start something in the wine industry while I'm drinking and enjoying the wine, and I can do something. But it was going to be a temporal thing. It was going to be really a hobby, see how it goes, and so forth. I tell you, 7 years later, I'm still in it. It's been fun. It's been such a great learning, because not now I'm just drinking wine, but I'm actually making a difference within the industry itself. So I'm
Great.
not just consuming, I'm actually now taking the product out there. So that was a learning, yeah, that took place. Yeah.
Kind of, as you're talking, we've been, as we've chatted with all the entrepreneurs that have come with Hollard, one of the things, and from the line of business that I come from, one of the things you notice is specifics about humans, and how humans do certain things and why, and for me, I think doing what you've done. And listening to it, there's a fearlessness that comes with that,
Yeah.
and also there's a bit of you know so if you fail, you just get up and learn and move forward, right? And I
That's
think
it.
if you don't have that kind of thing, you wouldn't be able to do, create the wine.
Absolutely.
Like, you wouldn't be able to do that. And also, the fact that you've noticed that there hasn't been representation of
Yeah.
black female owned wine,
Yeah.
and stepping into that space
Yeah.
and kind of going, if that has to be me, then it has to
Yeah.
be me.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So
Yeah.
it's commendable. I think
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Koni, quick one on your actual brand, the Koni wine label, the brand. Creating a brand is a process in itself. It really is. Understanding what your brand needs to represent, the tone of voice, what it needs to say, shouldn't say, and then bringing the visual elements together in a way that you can clearly see the universal brand positioned, but differentiation across the category and things like that. How did you embrace that journey, and who did you bring along to help you with that?
Yeah. Look, Craig, it's actually a good question because I'm going to also turn that question, when I answer it, into something that is also a learning for other entrepreneurs. In that, don't allow that your idea, it gets influenced so much. You need to follow your gut. the brand, when I started it with a lot of noise in my head. No, don't do this, do that. It has to be looking this way. And I ended up creating something that I like, but I was not passionate about it. And to change to the original, something that you wanted, it's money, it's costly. So from the beginning, follow your gut and do what you have defined. And I started, getting help from my designers, and I had this African cloth. I love African clothes, African wear at times. And I said to them, can you design something that is this vibrant, colorful, for me to, because I feel that my journey has been so colorful and colorful with pain, trauma, but with happiness and success. So, and when I look at South Africa as a whole, we are this vibrant, colorful people, a lot of diversity. And within that diversity, there's so much richness. There's so much that we can learn from each other. So I wanted something to represent me and my heritage, where I'm coming from, like South Africa. So we came up with this colorful, noisy label that whether some people like it, some people don't like it, but I stand by it because it defines who I am. And I'm happy when I'm holding that bottle.
Yeah, that's great, because it's a beautiful palette of vibrancy, rich color, but you've been able to classify the colors quite nicely across the different ranges of the product there as well. So yeah, brilliant. And it's good that you actually had professional help to take you through that journey, because undoing something is really possibly negative for the brand, but incredibly costly and time wastage. Fantastic. Yeah. So
Craig, sorry, I just googled that brand, a logo and the look of it, and I was like, that logo, the brand look of it, that label itself is as recognizable as Coca-Cola. I promise you. If you stand in a bottle store and you see that label, I'm gonna know that's Koni Wines. I'm telling you, that's amazing. Guys, you should check it out. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah, and it is that. It's about the vibrancy of the colors. Four key products at the moment, 5 key products, picking up the natural whites and that as well. And each of them just, you can own an entire category on shelf there with that. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So just jumping into the entrepreneurial space, because you mentioned, some of the learnings for entrepreneurs as well, is that Koni, just about every single entrepreneur we've had on the show today just told us about hardships, lessons they've learned, the dusty road traveled, okay, and being at the edge of despair when you run out of money and actually can't afford the next meal. And I get goosebumps when I say this, because it is a strong theme that is permeated through all the stories of the entrepreneurs that have joined us on the show. So stand under correction, but I think Letlonolo Motsing of Moja Chicken actually slept in his car when he couldn't afford rent and an apartment of his own. So, real stories, not nonsense. So what did you enjoy on your journey, and what are those lessons that you can share with us?
Craig, it was a tough journey. When I started, from my own savings with the little that I had. So most times I'm actually like a self-funded business even now, with a little bit of help there and there. There was a time, I think 2015, I didn't do a lot. It was more research and working with different people to learn how can I redefine myself and create a story, and follow, protocol and regulations. You must have liquor license, export permits, and, and all those things. And I think I started actually having a product. I think it was about 2016, towards the end of 2016. And my plan then was like, okay, I have this money, that will last me for about 2.5 years. I'm sure by then my business will be rolling. The business was starting to roll back instead. The trauma, the humiliation of coming from a level where you never asked for anything. You have to now humble yourself and ask for help. I know very well about not having anything. I had to sell my car. I had no choice to raise money from the little that I had. It was paid off, and for almost 18 months I didn't have transport between 2017 and 18. But you know what? In the midst of that, my message to entrepreneurs: just keep showing up. And in that 18 months, nobody could even pick it up that I am not mobile. Thank goodness to Uber. And I was staying not far from the train station. So when there's an event or show, I will just make sure 5 a.m. I'm just over there at the station, get the train, go to CTICC, or, I made it happen. Talk to a friend, the previous night, go drop my things at the event, and so that tomorrow morning I can just set up. So it was tough. It was tough, and you have to prepare for the financial crisis, which is something that I didn't really do well. To say, what if things don't take longer than 2.5 years?
Yeah.
What is your backup? So those are the lessons that I've learned. But at the same time, you have nothing. There's times where you have no food, you have no data, you have no car, you have absolutely nothing. But in that moment, there was just something every day that says, just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Take a little bit step forward, and thank goodness to social media, where you could create a page without paying. And I started doing stuff on my own, using marketing tools that don't require a lot of budget. And so it is tough. It is tough, and we read about government policies in terms of supporting SMEs. They are there, but when it comes to actually hitting the real entrepreneur who really needs that assistance, sometimes we don't feel it.
Yes.
We don't feel it.
Yes.
And I knew that if I have to wait for that application, I will never actually start. So therefore, the risk of actually just taking what I had. It is really sometimes humiliating for business people, SMEs, entrepreneurs. You have this burning idea, but you don't have sufficient funds to fund it. And most, they just give up, So, but it's not easy. It is not easy. Even today, then when things starts improving, comes COVID. It's like, oh dear. Yeah. So, but you need a certain, I think, character or personality of doing this. I know some of my family members, they say this is not for me, sorry.
I was actually going to ask, how have you brought any of your family on the journey with you? What do they
Not
think of you?
yet,
Do they think you're a lunatic?
Yeah, they're still comfortable in their positions,
Yeah,
But at
brilliant.
least, the support was there when I was really at my lowest. My family, my friends, the top five, I mean, that I could, that pops up, who were there when it was really, really dark. And my friend in Johannesburg, Belia, who borrowed me her car, took a chance because she had two cars. And I used this car for about 6 months. It's those things. People who just housed me and say, "Hey, come and stay with me for a while." Another friend. So people were there, and that is the beauty of relationships.
Yes.
How you treat people, and sometimes further down the line, those good things that you did, they always come back. Certain people will remember. So I really felt humbled at that time because I was really at my lowest, but people could show up, in their own small way.
Yeah.
Some did big things, some really did small things. But the power of relationships, I cannot emphasize it more in business and in life. It's very crucial.
No, that's fantastic because again, the word relationships has come up in every single one
Yeah.
of the conversations we've had on the show with entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And no matter how small or big the opportunity of assistance is, it's a selflessness and the contribution of those around you without expectation. Those are the really beautiful, meaningful things that help, push the journey along.
Yeah.
But there's a wonderful phrase that you use, and it goes along these lines: resilience.
Oh yeah.
The ability to withstand adversity and bounce back from the difficult life events. And that really is the essence of what we're picking up on all of these wonderful stories of the entrepreneurs in South Africa. So fantastic. Yeah. Resilience.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, things will go up and down. There's a flow, in life. But you can't stay further down there. You need to look up,
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes you need to point things to yourself, we're very quick to blame, oh, but I didn't get funding, so I won't start. This and happened. I mean, for me to run out of money, I could have made better calculations, for instance. But I'm learning from it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm just listening, great, and I relate so much to what Koni's saying. Yeah. I remember I got my first client off Gumtree. I created a Gumtree advert, and I got a client from Nedbank who saw my Gumtree advert because I didn't have money to pay for advertising. I remember, I relate so much to what you're saying. And also, the point to resilience, those moments where you kind of go, why am I doing what I'm doing? And that, for me, it was always a case of going, what is bigger than this moment right now? Like if I'm having a bad day, like what is bigger than this? What is bigger than this?
Yeah.
And it would be that. And it's that theme, and every entrepreneur we speak to has that theme. They have this drive, this unspoken need.
Yes. But I want to tell you a funny story. I love stories. So in the midst of this crisis, I think it was 2017 or early 2018, I'm like, goodness, what did I do to myself? Maybe I should go back to the job and be a full-time employee again. So I start looking for jobs and, nothing comes my way. After a while, a position comes. I think it was an HR manager position or something. So I go to this interview. It was, I think it was an NGO type of an environment. So, and then like you guys, they start asking me questions. I mean, wine and HR. I mean, what was going on? I mean, and then, I can't remember what actually triggered my emotions. I think I was in so much pain and, going through stuff to say, why is this not working? I gave it my all. And I don't know what was one of the questions the panel asked. And I just bursted into tears.
Wow.
I've
Sure.
never cried in that manner in an interview. And the person that I was supposed to report to had to hand me a box of tissues. Obviously, I didn't get the job.
No, we don't need no criers on this in this business.
Then
Goodness
I
me.
learned, I
Wow.
said, you know what, you've chosen this path, Koni, stick to it. Make it work.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Koni, just in light of that, Hollard appeared on the scene with this campaign at the right moments, we've noticed for a lot of entrepreneurs that we've been chatting to. So give us, if you don't mind, share some of the experience you had from the moment you were contacted by the Hollard Insurance team to pitch for the opportunity to be considered for the Big Ad Small Business campaign. And what did you go through envisaging your name and lights on key media touchpoints across South Africa, and just having the opportunity to up the game a bit?
To be honest, I wish my grandparents were still alive.
Wow.
It was so emotional. So when this campaign starts, my customer, she sends me a WhatsApp to say, Hollard has this opportunity. Should I really want to nominate you because I've been watching your journey, So I'm like, oh, one of those, yeah. So yes, you can do it. But I didn't know that she actually is an employee of Hollard then. So I'm like, maybe she's connected to Hollard in some way. But anyway, no, it's fine. You can put my name. It was within 2 weeks. I received an email from Hollard, requesting certain documentation. I'm like, this is real, my goodness, So I'm like, okay. And I think within a month, there were already 2 interviews telephonically with someone who just wanted to know my journey. And I had another Zoom tab of a meeting with people who just wanted to see me, because they've been going through my documentation, my website, and so forth. And it was on a Friday. I think it was about 6 p.m. I just came from, I still do certain deliveries for my, particular certain customers, especially my elderly customers, they want that touch. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, tired and, just came from the shower. I'm like having my pajamas and so forth. Then I see there's a video call on WhatsApp. I'm like, this is the call that I had before. It's 4 ladies. I'm on my pajamas and, so I didn't go like on video. So I quickly sent a mail to say, they said, no, don't worry, so we just want to see you, So I'm like, wow. So they said, no, we just quick look at yourself and just interact quickly with you. And then you will hear from us on Monday again. We're just going through the process. I was like, what? Monday they called. Koni, you've been successful.
Wow, fantastic.
It was, I was so numb. I was in tears of joy. That whole journey of, resilience, pain, sticking to it no matter what. It was like there's this big answer to say, it's happening. Your hard work is starting to pay off. Someone can see, someone can believe in what you are building. And it was such a great honor for me. And I will never forget that moment. When the campaign started, making my own TV ad, I'm still in a dream, I'm not believing this is happening. See myself on N1 on a billboard, when times were tough, I used to sometimes drive on these big roads and say, all I need is a billboard with a bottle of my wine there. And it happened.
Oh, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
The journey was beautiful. It was such a great team. It was like a family.
Yes.
It still feels like a family. They were supportives. They enjoyed my wines. And it was a different business. They never wanted things for free. They still buying wines even today, for their corporate shop up in Johannesburg. Everybody was just raving about Koni Wines. And that made me realize that, the basics that I started working on, getting the basics right, the story right, the look and feel right, the pricing, the quality of what's in the bottle right. It was a winner, and I knew I'm on the right track. And, having the right partnership, because I'm not just working on my own. I mean, I don't have my own farm yet. It's something in the near future that I would have, maybe in a different way. Technology works wonders these days. So, but, the partnership that I have with my supplier, it just changed everything. So those are the key things that, that really is making Koni Wines to really improve on a daily basis. Yeah.
I think we need to talk to Ntuko Shezi to have a little chat with you. I don't know if you know much about Shezi's work. So he started Cattle Bank and CEO of Livestock Wealth, and he actually ventured into some, if I'm not mistaken, could be around macadamia nuts and things like that.
Yes, macadamia.
So he's created these investment platforms for medium to long-term investing of the people of South Africa to create agricultural and business opportunities. So maybe we need to chat to Shezi to get some investment fund going for a great South African wine estate.
Definitely.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Yeah.
Craig knows lots of people, Koni. You just keep in touch with Craig. That's why I keep him close. I know we're running out of time at a fast pace here, but I want to quickly just cover. We've always spoke about 10 reasons why small businesses fail. COVID hits. As a small business, obviously going to have massive impact on your business. With that in mind, how did your business survive during the lockdown? Because alcohol sales in South Africa, the whole big ban, it obviously affected. What did you guys do, and how did that affect you?
Yeah. Look, it was not an easy thing, what happened. The whole industry, especially us, the smaller, guys, it really hit us hard because, I was not then, exporting where I could say, locally it's fine, there's a ban, but out there's still a demand. So it was very tough. But, I used this COVID silence to refine certain things, the things that I spoke about, to refine my story, to work on my website. In fact, by 2019 November, I was already selling online. And I never knew about COVID then, but I learned to embrace technology. From long, even in my corporate days, I was one of the first who was like intuitive about iPad and just working smart. So technology was the thing that actually helped. I started having, sales online. And when COVID hit, I was already selling online. Although we couldn't deliver, we couldn't do much, but at least people could still buy, and then we'll deliver when things open. And it was tough. But, in the midst of those challenges, I started exporting
Wow.
Oh,
to
wow.
Botswana. Yeah. And I think it was also related to the Holland campaign, because it was a referral. It was not something where, I was busy with. It just came out of the blue. Someone referred me to these guys to say, she's got the right portfolio for you guys, some of the wines that you would love. And I think it was April, May 2020. And then, I started exporting to Botswana. And, obviously, when people see that this brand, it's a little bit out there, the billboards, all these things, there's that trust, the mini trust. Because before then, I think people will say, who is this Koni Wines? Spaza shop from somewhere. So this spaza shop is on certain billboards. So I think that campaign played a role. And now we're talking to UK, and I think very soon we'll be in the UK. It's
Fantastic.
Wow.
yeah, we should be
That is
finalizing
amazing.
things mid-March. So more is coming, and that is also the beauty of learning and allowing yourself to be down there and come up slowly, with grace, because I think I've learned that this is not a marathon, a sprint. It's a marathon. I need to take each step at a time, do the basic right and move along. Things will open up, certain things will find you. And that's what I'm focusing on. I'm aware this is a very challenging industry. It's very difficult. It's highly competitive. Therefore, you need patience. If you are here to make a lot of millions from the start, unfortunately, you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I do love about what you said, though, the COVID silence, the time to reflect and refine, talks to that point we opened the conversation on, where COVID created a space for leaders to stop and think critically about themselves and what it is that they assume about the future, so that they might be able to check out and be able to pursue what it is that they believe. So well done to you on that. And again, really also just great to hear that you've embraced technology and e-commerce and really putting the wine out front through a digital shop front. Really, really great.
Yeah.
And cheers to selling to the UK. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, guys. It's been such a wonderful moment. I cherish these moments. It's because, you just look back and say, hey, I really come from far. I can still go further. And for you to give me this platform to express who I am and what I'm trying to build, it's really, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for choosing me. And soon you'll taste my wines.
Absolutely. When I'm next in Cape Town, most definitely.
Definitely.
Come and meet in person.
Yeah.
And I think,
I'm
we need
in the space of, I was again nominated to be part of the 12 brands that are housed in this beautiful space, where we have meeting rooms, we have a tasting facility, we have like a warehouse, so you can come and taste our wines here. So, and there's like beautiful food. So yeah, it's really a beautiful location. Yeah.
We need to get you to Johannesburg, so you know that the brand is more readily available in Johannesburg as well.
Yes. In fact, Craig, most of my buyers are in Johannesburg, Pretoria. Yeah. So, and I'm thinking of coming there April, May, just for a nice event and, you know, reconnect with the customer. Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll be here.
Well, please invite us. Invite us. We'll be there, and we'll buy lots of wine.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Craig, so I don't know where we are on where we.
Yeah, we just I know we at wrap up time.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can wrap this up for us, Craig, because I'm like, there's so much that's such beautiful things as Koni said. Actually, like there's so much that I resonate with, and I think listening to these stories, this is why we have people like this on the show, because it's an inspiration to listen to someone going through turmoils, going through the things, and still making a mark. And Holland absolutely has been part of this process, but if it wasn't for Koni and wanting to have her own brand of wine, none of this would exist. So
right.
It's a beautiful thing to share.
Yeah. So a couple of pointers, just great takeouts. Don't be scared of a challenge. Create your own path. And stay true to that path. Don't jump around creating sidewalks. Find that path and just keep focused. Gut is such a great decider in so many things in business as well, believe it or not. With all the theories and models and permutations we have, going with your gut really wins in many instances.
Yeah.
Keep on that path, follow your gut. And I love the reference to curiosity. Be curious.
Yes.
Because if you're not curious, you're not going to unravel the other little nuggets of important information or peel back the onion to find out what really is at the heart of all of that. Fearlessness, fail fast, move forward. From your point of view, a colorful journey, which is actually represented in your brand. And that's what entrepreneurs need to understand. When you're creating a brand, the essence of the brand must talk the truth of what you're wanting it to deliver and be and say. Okay. And then just show up.
Oh, yeah.
And build relationships. Keep those relationships in place, keep pushing, and just use. It's a great reference. There are many free to use platforms in social media that you can start getting your brand out there without huge expense. Leverage those, get your followers, get them to seed it for you, and just start building the conversation through the social connection that you have, and that relationship group will help you seed the story. And those are my little takeaways from the conversation today.
I love it. Thank you, Craig. That was fantastic. Koni, thank you for joining us. On a closing statement, what would you like South Africans, entrepreneurs and business owners who are, like having a bad day today, maybe, or they just need something? What inspiring message do you have?
Yeah. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Nice.
Don't be too hard. We quick to judge ourselves, therefore we judge others. Just be present. Just be present. Yeah.
Fantastic. Koni, thank you so much. Really fantastic.
Fantastic. Thank you, Koni. And that's from Koni Wines. I encourage you to go and just go and Google KoniWines.com. And you will check the pictures. The wine bottles are fantastic. They look sexy, and they look really, really cool. But guys, and also we're going to put all this information in the Dropbox below. Craig, for our next week. Koni, thank you for joining us. What are we doing next week, Craig?
Kevin, take a quick look at what's driving the global surge in brick and mortar retail again. There really is a big upward trend in brick and mortar, and just touching on some of the brands that are getting it right and delivering that best in-person experience in brick and mortar.
Fantastic.
Wow. Wow.
Cheers to our 50th show, Koni. Cheers to you, and
Thank you
for joining us.
guys. Oh,
Thanks
it
for
was
your
lovely.
time.
Fantastic,
Phenomenal.
fantastic time, and
Thank you so
we
much.
look forward to that event you spoke about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Cheers.